Hello again, arts fundraisers, and welcome back to the fourth installment of Creative Capital. A question I frequently get from clients is, where can we find new donors? One of the most important aspects of fundraising is to identify and cultivate new donor prospects continually. You need to build a pipeline for future gifts and future growth. But in the arts, we deal with a very limited base of potential donors, mostly those who are consumers of our offerings. So what do? Here are just a few thoughts to get us started. Number one, create a systematic prospect list. Building a solid donor pipeline starts with a clean, prioritized, and strategic prospect list. Rather than chasing names based on wealth alone, develop a systematic process that considers affinity, giving capacity, and connection to your mission. This becomes your fundraising roadmap, one that you can track, revisit, and refine regularly. Not having a system will take you off track. You'll sit in a development meeting and the same names will surface over and over, those who are non-donors, but they could give a lot of money. They won't. They don't have the propensity for it. They don't have the interest for it. Sometimes that interest can be cultivated, but often it's not. Regardless, creating that systematic approach to developing your prospect list will help you sort through those who might give versus those who will never give. Number two, utilize your board members for prospect identification. Your board members are more than fiduciaries. They're natural connections to your donor base. Engaging them in structured prospect identification sessions, not vague brainstorming sessions, leverages their networks in a purposeful, meaningful, time-efficient way. When done right, it not only reveals new potential donors, but it also has the propensity to also deepen the board's ownership of the fundraising process itself. Number three, develop cultivation opportunities. Cultivation isn't just an event. It's a thoughtful series of actions that bring prospects closer to your organization. From behind-the-scenes experiences to one-on-one coffees to volunteerism itself, each opportunity should feel personalized and mission-centered. A well-designed cultivation plan turns names on a list into inspired supporters who can soon be ready to give. We're going to get into the details, though, just a little bit more. What does that mean about creating a systematic prospect list? Start by building a list of potential donors. Start with the easy stuff. It's a pipeline of people who probably already like your organization. So earlier, we talked about those prospective donors who know you, like you, trust you, and that's part of relationship building. This is no different as you're looking at building new prospects. Build a pipeline of people who perhaps already like your organization. So if they know you and they like you, we have one step to go: trust you. This could include people who have attended your events. Maybe they have interacted with your content or they've shown an interest in your mission. But prospects can come from a lot of different places, including board member suggestions, community connections that you or others have, maybe artist connections and public engagement that they have outside of your organization. But think about those who either now or soon could come to know you and like you and trust you enough to want to make that investment in an annual fund gift. Number two, utilize those board members. They've taken on the responsibility of the organization. They should love the institution. They should know about the institution, have detailed information about it, and they should want to share it with others. If they have networks that you, as a development director or a CEO or staffer, may not have access to, they can come and open up those doors. If you are a board member watching this, it's your job to help bring those names and help open those doors. I'm sure you've heard that before. The entire institution should help encourage the board to provide names to facilitate introductions to people who might be interested in supporting your institution. And how do we set the tone for that? Well, let me tell you how we don't set the tone. We don't do blanket asks of the board members at board meetings. We don't tell board members that there is an envelope with their name on the back table. We would like them to go get that, and by the time the meeting is over, have completed, filled it out, or within a couple of days mailed it back to us. If they're pace setters, we have to demonstrate how donors are asked for gifts so that when they're thinking about names to share with you or with the institution, they can clearly envision what you mean by that and how that donor, that prospective donor, would be approached. Number three, Develop cultivation opportunities. Fortunately, since we're arts organizations, it's pretty easy to come up with a comprehensive list. I don't know that you need a comprehensive list. You probably need 3, maybe 4, maybe 5 things that you do over and over again. You do really well. But once you've identified those prospects, you need that cultivation strategy. And for me, this involves 2 levels. The first is what I'll call public facing, just getting more people knowledgeable and familiar with your arts organization. Because we work in the arts daily, we can make the mistake that everyone at least knows about us. And it's rarely the case. Voicing who you are, what you do, what the benefit is of your institution, how people can participate, that's what creates consumers, of course. And it's like marketing 101. If we can tell people about us, they get excited about what we're doing, they'll come consume what we're presenting. You want and need people to know about your organization so that you are viewed as an essential part of the community. Almost every arts organization does things that are mission fulfilling and not just transactional. That's what I'm talking about, creating those cultivation opportunities, that public facing. What do you do public facing that people can learn more about and be more of a part of? So not everyone will love your organization. Go into it knowing that. But at least they'll know something else about it, which will help you cultivate more interest from that group of people who are a little bit farther out, who don't know as much about you but could learn. Repeatedly providing information is the way to cultivate interest and have consumers self-identify that they are interested. The second way is really what I'll call the innermost circle, and I'll show that in an upcoming slide. The second level is personalized outreach, phone calls, invitations, handwritten notes, meetings. They know you, like you, trust you, and they are ready to learn more on a personal level. Tell them the story, share the mission and the vision in a way that appeals to their values and interests. Remember, people generally give for one of 3 reasons. They give for what it does for the institution, what it does for the community, and what it does for them personally. So when you think about how to attract people early in the stages, you want all 3 of those to be front-facing, and you want all 3 of those then to be appealing so that as you get to know people, you know which one they gravitate towards. Number 4 is learn the cultivation steps. There are steps in cultivation. It's not 1 or 2, and it's not haphazard. It is different for different donors and different kinds of donors, but we want you to think about cultivation in terms of steps. It's not, we have an event, and now we start asking people for money. Sometimes it is, most often it's not, and when you want to be really successful, it's almost never that. Learn those steps. If I'm the development person or I'm the CEO and you're the potential donor, I take a step towards you, you take one towards me, I take one towards you, you take one towards me, and we really begin to build that relationship by getting closer to each other and knowing more about each other. If you take 3 steps and they take 3 steps back, that's a different issue. I'm not going to cover that right now, but visually, you get the gist. So your approach should resemble what I would say fishing more than hunting. If you are putting information out there and you are attracting people to come talk with you, that's more like fishing. If you're chasing after someone to get their attention and make them give, that's hunting. Good fundraisers don't hunt, they fish. And so kind of keep that visualization in your head as you think about cultivation. Cultivation is about fishing. It is not about hunting. Last on our list here is mapping donor progress. Prospects need to be nurtured always. Map their progress from one point of initial contact to the next point and when they are ready to make the gift. Some donors, some prospects might need 5 steps before they're ready to make a gift. Others might need 1. Others might need 20. I don't know, and neither do you. And that's why we say have this process of mapping donor progress. This map should include interactions like personal meetings that you've had, event invitations that you've sent, and then gauging which ones they have accepted versus not, and regular communication to see how they respond to the things that you send to them or say to them or share with them. This goal is to gradually move them from being potential donors to becoming committed donors. I said this before, but one of our core beliefs in generating new potential donors is that they need to know you, like you, and trust you as an arts organization. If they're not there yet, then that's the beginning part of cultivation. There are plenty of people and organizations that do pass this test, many of whom you may not even know of, but they're watching or they're attending or they're participating in some way that hasn't fully identified them yet as a donor. Think about that. Who knows you, likes you, trusts you? That becomes the filter for part of being able to qualify to ask for a gift. Let's talk about who those first people are. And I'm going to show you this, what we call our innermost circle of prospects. And this is where I would tell you, if you haven't started here, naming names, start here. You should know your current board members and your past board members. Not necessarily all your past board members, but maybe the last 3 years or the last 5 years. You should know who those people are, and you should know how involved they are currently with the organization. Next on your list is renewing the lapsed donors. Next on your list are frequent consumers, non-donors. And then you go to occasional consumers, non-donors. And then finally, you go to others who are close to your institution. Now, the reason I bring this up, and the reason that we graph it this way, the reason that we chart it this way, is because those who are in the center, there are usually fewer of them in number, but they're also the most highly vested in your institution. They might give the highest capacity. They might give the most money to the annual fund. We talked about current and past board members, that board segment giving 30% of the 70% that comes from individuals of the overall annual fund. And then you move out to the renewing and lapsed donors. You'll have more renewing donors. You'll have more lapsed donors included in that. They may not have per capita the same kind of value that your board and past board have, but they have high value. There's more of them. Gift average is probably a little bit lower in total. Then you move to that next group, the frequent consumers and non-donors. These are people who come to your concerts or come to your exhibition openings or come to your classes, and they are frequent, but they don't give yet. They view their purchase or their admission or their enrollment, they view that as supporting the institution. They're not wrong, but it's not annual fund giving. And then you have your occasional consumers, your non-donors, much more in terms of number of, but less valuable on a gift average basis and a participation basis. Then you have the others who are close to your organization. Those might be partners. Those might be some businesses that you do business with. And it might be just really one-off that someone had a family member who was doing something with your organization. They came and participated. It can be a fairly large pool, but it'll be a really diverse pool also. And that's why it's the largest group, but it also has likely the smallest per capita value. But let's look at that in a little bit more detail. You can focus on those top donors, including your board. This is key to front loading, getting that 65% activity within the first 6 months of the fiscal year. You start by renewing and increasing donors first before you go to lapsed and recovered donors and the new prospects. The faster and more efficiently that you get through your board members, your renewing donors who will make increases, and some of your lapsed donors, the faster you can get to those larger bodies of constituents and begin to cultivate them, help them self-identify, and be a part of your organization through annual giving as well. Okay, so let's look at the next level. This looks similar. This is just prospects. They are not recent donors, but the approach is similar and the pool is similar, just a few more rungs out from the previous graph that we looked at. You have board connections. That is one of your most valuable sources to generate new prospects. And I know some organizations will tell us, our organization doesn't have the cream of the crop board. It doesn't matter. It's okay. You start where you are. You have board members. Many of them are out in the community. They have relationships, and that's what we're looking for. What are the relationships that they can bring to the table, people who might be interested in what we do as an arts institution? And you need time to review and prepare and streamline all of these prospects. They might be considered cool leads, and that means that you'll need more time to cultivate them. The next group, arts and cultural enthusiasts, maybe you're the orchestra and they give to the museum or they give to the ballet or they give to the Performing Arts Center. But they don't give to you unless there's some specific reason they're not giving to you. They're a really good source for who might be next in your pipeline. Then we talk about partnership connections. I mentioned that earlier. You have lots of business partners, foundation partners. You have others who can help refer new business, new potential donors to you. And next to last on that list are list trades. This might be where you trade your patron list with other arts institutions. There's a process of doing that I won't belabor here, but just trading names so that you can see donors who are not giving to you, but as I said earlier, giving to other organizations who you might be able to cultivate. And then last on my list, which I'm not a big fan of, but sometimes you do it if you've done all the other outreach, if you've really exhausted the other lists, is to do a geographic demographic lists. I like these kind of lists more for creating consumers to your organization than I do for creating donors to your organization. It just makes sense that their first line of getting familiar and acquainted with what you're doing is by personally consuming the art that you produce. And so I'm not saying don't ever do it. I'm just saying, no, that's not going to yield high amounts for you. It's not going to bring in hundreds and hundreds of new donors. In fact, it's more valuable usually on the marketing side, and you can work with the marketing team to see how you would use those in complementary ways. All right, to wrap up, how will you build that system that you need? And really, the first step is create the prospect list. Compile the list of potential donors from your various sources. Keep it small and use that board member suggestion. Use some of your other resources to build it, and then just start with those 5 or 10. Number 2, engage those board members not just to give you the names, but also to help with the cultivation. Number 3, personalize your outreach. Develop tailored communication strategies for each of those prospects to build meaningful relationships. Now, if you're doing broad-based, you might have to do it in terms of groups, and that's okay. The goal is you want people to self-identify through your actions. You want them to self-identify that they might be interested in making a contribution to your institution. Number 4, expand your marketing. Work at keeping your organization and its value top of mind for the public at large. Again, you can't get to everybody. You can't expect everyone to give, but you can put the message out there so that they can cultivate themselves a little bit, tell you that they're interested, and then you can take it from there and begin to develop a relationship with them. So our conclusion on this is identifying these prospects. Of course, it's just the beginning, but you do have to get organized. You do need a system. That cultivation about building a relationship that leads to a meaningful gift comes later. But for now, think about how are you going to create useful lists that will help advance your program and grow it year over year.